So if I were to ask you, those of you in Point Taken land, where do you think the crime numbers are right now? You can choose Milwaukee. You can choose national numbers, big city numbers. I've got some numbers I'll drop on you in a second. I will say that Milwaukee is sort of an outlier because I'll give this away to you. When it comes to murders, the trend is not good. Other kinds of crime other than reckless driving and those types of crimes are generally down in Milwaukee, which is a good thing. But murder, which is the sort of the linchpin of a safe community, I would argue, especially big cities, Milwaukee is sort of the outlier. Why do I say that? So I just did some quick searches this morning, thanks again to ChatGPT. According to the FBI, let's go back to 2024. Violent crime decreased about 4.5%. Property crime, theft, burglary, all that stuff, dropped by 8%. Numbers still being sort of assimilated, I think that's the right word, for 2025. Most categories of crime down significantly. This is one of those dazzling details that I think might surprise you, but maybe not. Homicides nationally down 21%. And here's the kicker on top of that one. Preliminary estimates for 2025 that are still being sorted out. That was 2024 numbers I gave you. 2025, another 20%. So that's sort of the templates for where crime is going as far as just the stats. Now, your perception obviously can differ depending on where you live, the level of crime in your neighborhood or your community or your city or your state or your country. But generally, overall, on some of the big numbers when it comes to crime, they're going down. So here's where it gets interesting. For me, maybe you, 855-616-1620. Donald Trump, actually, let's start with the Democrats first. It puts the Democrats in a tough position. Why do I say that? Because it's hard to argue with success. And whatever measure you want to use, whether it's homicides, burglary, property theft, carjackings, reckless driving. And again, Milwaukee's the outlier because some of those numbers aren't as good in Milwaukee as they are in other big cities across the country. It's hard to argue with success. Crime numbers are down. Now, Texter correctly points out they've been dropping significantly since about 2020. Who was president in 2020? It's not a test. We can all figure it out. So maybe Joe Biden gets some credit for that. Perhaps. But this president, here's the Republican challenge. What has this president, Donald J. Trump, been talking about? Crime is up. It's a dangerous country. Our streets aren't safe. Big cities, got to flood them. Got to clean it up. So it is somewhat specious to argue that everything's bad when the numbers suggest the alternative is actually true.